30th, 1997. We're in Columbus, Ohio, at the 12th Armored 51st Reunion. My name is Charlie Henson. I'm interviewing Clarence C. Knapik. Okay, first of all, give me your full name, the date of your birth, and the place of your birth.
My name is Clarence Charles Knapik. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio on March 21st, 1924. My mother's name was Helen Bogutsky, and my father's name was John Knapik. I went to school, elementary school. Then from elementary school, we went to the high school naturally, but we moved to another suburb to go there. Then my parents purchased a delicatessen business. And during those years, I worked in the delicatessen to help the family out because income wasn't all that great during those years. And at the same time, I went to high school while working in the store. And then I got the eventual letter, "Greetings." And attached to that letter was a little streetcar ticket for my car fare to go downtown, grab a train, and report to 4 days Columbus. So, naturally, I didn't use the ticket because I still have it in a drawer attached to that letter. I wouldn't use that ticket, so I paid the car fare and went down and went on a train with my family there walking down the steps in the terminal. And they're all tears in their eyes. Clary's going to the Army. And got on the train, went to Fort Hays, Columbus. I don't remember. Oh, we went to while we were at Fort Hays, they took us on a trip to see Mammoth Cave. But no, this was in Fort Knox. That's where it was. We went from Fort Hays to Fort Knox, and they took us on a trip to Mammoth Cave. That was exciting. I liked that. And then we was basic training at Fort Knox.
Tell me about that. What was your reaction to that? Was it what you expected?
Basic training, I was one of those individuals that was experimented on in the Army with the disease known as malaria. We took atabrain pills, which turned our skin yellow, and they, every week or a couple of days, they took blood tests out of your arm. And that lasted for about 6 to 8 weeks. In the meantime, we still had to perform our duties as a basic training at Fort Knox while going through this experiment. So make a long story short, we got 15-day furlough for doing this. So that's what was my compensation for being a guinea pig in the service.
Did it make you feel bad? Did it kind of give you malaria? Or?
No, it did not develop malaria. It's supposed to have prevented you from getting malaria if you went to the South Pacific. That was experimental to see if it could prevent malaria. But how the outcome came, I don't know, because they didn't use it later on, you know. But when I went home, they thought I was Japanese, all yellow skin. Yeah, so. And then after we came back, then we sent us to our outfits which we were going to be stationed with, and they gave me Camp Barkley, Texas for the 12th Armored Division.
Tell me about your first impression of Abilene, Texas.
The first impression of Camp Barkley, Texas, well, I was a little frightened. Didn't know what was going to happen, you know. And when I got in the barracks with the individuals, then you became more accustomed to the individuals, and everything went along more smoothly than that.
Did you have any guys that went with you from Fort Knox to Barkley?
There was a few. There's like Rudy Galich was one. Odell was another. There's a few, but I don't quite remember now. It's been so many years ago. And there's been others. I can't remember exactly. But while we were there, we enjoyed ourselves. they sent me to a special school to learn how to teach the 50 caliber machine gun. I went to school, and then when I got back, I taught the other soldiers the ins and outs, taking apart and reassembling and putting back together in a machine gun, and how it's to be used and handled. That was what they did for me there. I did that for a while.
Describe that gun. Describe it to us.
50 caliber is, I don't remember exact measurements, but it was quite large. The bullets were that long, about that big around, and every fourth one was a incendiary. So they used it at airplanes, other soldiers, you know, they were shooting at, or trains or anything, just like an airplane would have it, you know.
Was it mounted on something, or?
Well, it was mounted on a tripod on the ground, or it was on a half track on a wheel that you could spin it around. We usually had to travel from place to place in our half tracks. We had a driver and about 6, a squad would fit in the back of the half track. And when you're in a half track, it's not a smooth ride.
Describe the half track for us. People
A
are going
half
to
track,
see this tape.
a lot of people don't know what a half track is, but it is. It looks like a tank in the rear, and then in the front it's like a truck. You combine the two. Half of the vehicle is run by the tracks, just like a tank would be, and the front part is a regular tire, just like a big truck would be to drive it. And the gas tanks are loaded on the side, and the individuals would be inside this cubby hole where the tank, above the tracks of the tank. And the gas tanks are right there. Later on, we're going, it's pitch black dark in Europe when we was in a war, and we're riding along pitch black, you can't see your head, your hand in front of your face, and our half track tipped over on the side. Somebody started yelling, fire, fire. Everybody tried to scramble out, you know, because you could smell the gasoline leaking, see. And everybody lost all their equipment, your duffel bags and everything else, you know, because you couldn't find it in the dark. We never got that stuff back. They had to replace everything to all the individuals who were in that tank. I suspect that our driver was so tired from driving so long that he went off the road a little bit and just tipped it over. That's in the future from Camp Barkley, but that's what just came to mind. Yeah.
What was the training different from Fort Knox to Barkley? Compare those two.
Well, Fort Knox training is strictly the basic to give you what's required and what you must do, get you in shape. Get up 3 o'clock in the morning in your underwear and do exercises, then take you in and have breakfast, and then after that you do your military duties, you know. Make sure the barracks are clean and their latrine is clean. And if you're a bad boy, they send you into the cook, KP. You have to do peel potatoes, or worst of all, what you had to do was clean out the sewer where they had the grease, where they poured on the used grease. You had to clean that bucket out. That was the worst job. So you didn't want to do anything wrong, otherwise you'd be cleaning the grease out of the pit. Yeah.
So what was Barkley like then?
Barkley, had a lot of fun there, Barkley. I didn't have they took pictures, you know, and go to the theater. After your duties for the day were over with, you know. After you had stand reveille and then taps or what do you call it? Where you're done for the day at 5 o'clock, you know. Then after that, your day was over until early in the morning again. See. I used to play baseball, hardball. I used to be a pitcher while I was in Camp Barkley. Used to get write-ups in the Stars and Stripes about it. Play with Earl Torgerson and them fellas that were in the major leagues. I remember that's pretty good. I just had another fellow of mine, I forget his name now. He was a pitcher along with me. One day he'd pitch one day and I'd pitch the next, you know. And
Did y'all play within each other, or did y'all play against some of the area?
We played in a battalion league against other battalions. That was all like in a division or somebody else come along. We played with them, you know. One of our majors put a $500 bet that we would beat the other team, and I was pitching. We won the game. Yeah, but that was pretty nice to know that he won that money because we won the game.
Did y'all do a lot of night training and kind of like play war? Did y'all do a lot of that at Barkley?
What kind of game?
Did you do kind of a play war, kind of set up a war situation and go
no,
day and night? Maneuvers and things like that.
They had a little bit of that, but it wasn't all. They had mostly, before I came to Camp Barkley, Texas, this outfit was on maneuvers in Camp Campbell, Kentucky. See, when I got there, the maneuvers was already over with. So I had nothing to do with their maneuvers. They already had performed their maneuvers.
Who was your lieutenant in C Company at Barkley?
Lieutenant Gumbos.
Tell me about him, as a person and as a leader.
I liked him. He was a nice guy, individual. He was a lot of fun. I used to tease him. He'd show me a picture of his wife, you know. I said, how the hell can you, a guy like you, have a nice person like that as a wife, you know, tease him. I was working in the orderly room at the time, you know, I forgot already, an orderly, you know. So that didn't last long, so.
Okay, let's get you to New York. Tell me about leaving Barkley and...
Well, New York was, I forget now, what was Shanks, was it? Camp Shanks, I think we left. And then we went on, they put us on this boat, English boat. I forget the name.
Was it Empress of Australia?
That's it, Empress of Australia. That was it. I remember the boiled fish and potatoes on that boat.
Did you like it?
The boat or the fish?
The fish.
No.
I haven't found anybody that enjoyed that food.
No. That's like eating raw fish and potatoes, you know. But they liked it, the Englishmen. You know.
As you look back over that time, you knew you were you're going across the Atlantic, you're getting ready to go to war. Did you think about that much? About what lay ahead?
While we were on the Empress of Australia, my main thought was not to be attacked by U-boats. That was our main fear. Once we got to our landing where we landed, well, you didn't worry about that. You worry about it when it's happening. That's when you start worrying about it. But to apprehension, it wasn't for me. I didn't do that.
Tell me your first impressions, feelings, your first
encounter in combat. First encounter in combat. We were instructed to go across this large open field. I bet it was maybe 4 or 5 miles deep and wide. And my duty was to carry the bazooka. And we're going to attack this area to see if we could get some enemy fire, draw some enemy fire. Well, it didn't take long. We got some mortar fire on us and machine gun. First thing I did was hit the ground. I turned, look, everybody started running back where we came from. So I knew, well, I ain't gonna be a hero. I turned around and went back too. I zigzagged this way, and that way. And as I'm running, this close to my ankle, machine gun bullets. Did I run then? I'll tell you, I wasn't tired no more. Yeah. And they finally got back to the town, and then they regrouped and went back again and went through the town. We did all right. That was my first encounter of combat. That's how close I came.
So how did you, was it hard to get back out there and go do that again? Did all of you just kind of go, oh, well, that's how it is, now we're going to go, now we're really going to go do this again?
Well, when you get orders, you follow orders. When they say you're going back, that's all. Nobody told you to run, but turn around and come back. Yeah.
Okay. What was your position in the C, C?
And where?
What, in C Company? You were in C
C
Company?
Company,
Yeah.
yes. So I was in a regular rifleman, PFC. Sergeant Wadsworth Q. Sergeant Warner, or he became sergeant later, but he was second leader of the squad. And, they were pretty nice fellows. They're not all here today, but that's the way it goes.
How many of you lasted the whole war together, those of y'all who left Barclay? And
How
C
did I
Company?
last the whole war?
I mean, how many of the men, you started with a certain number of men, how many of you ended up finishing the war together?
There weren't too many. Because most of our losses came at the town of Herlisheim. That's where we had a great loss. Come to find out later on, I believe the story is true, but I can't prove it. But it was from our own artillery that killed a lot of our division. They used short rounds. Instead of firing on our enemy, the round would be short and land on our own troops. And we had lost a lot of fellows that way. We had fellas be killed because they're trying to stand up and try to stop the artillery to come in. They lost their lives doing that. You have artillery coming in, hit a half track, catch it on fire, guys running out all full of flame. You can't last after that. That's one incident. Anything else?
Okay. Is there anything any other things that stand out in your mind before y'all got to Herlisheim? Any kind of things that happened to you?
Well, we had this one town where the lady didn't like it because we were eating and using her apples that she made apple wine with. So we got orders from there. We had to either replace the wine or the apples or pay for them or do something. So they put us in there. We had to peel apples and put it in there too. But the men got together. They said they're going to do something to fix this woman up. I don't know whether I could say it on the TV or not, but they urinated in the they urinated in there to get even with this lady with the wine, their apple wine. So nobody's supposed to know about that, but now it'll be out in the open.
Okay. As I understand, y'all did not really realize what y'all were going to face at Herlisheim. Reports weren't real clear?
No. They weren't, reports weren't clear. Oh, just the day before Herlisheim, I developed 6 boils on my belt line in the back. They're ready to burst, and I got orders to go back to the aid station and see what they can do for me. So they kept me there for 2-3 days, lanced these boils, all the while Hersheimer is being wiped out. That's one reason I'm still here today, because I wasn't there with the other fellas. I was back in the aid station with taking care of the boils on my back. I didn't find out about Hersheimer, how bad it was, really, until after it was over with. I was one of the fortunate ones that weren't there at the time.
So what did it feel like going back to that, and friends that you'd had were no longer there?
Well,
An unexpected something.
well, that's why they build you up for that in your training. It's you do anything for your buddy. It makes you more mad if you see the enemy, take it out on the enemy. That's what you do. Can't stop and cry or nothing. Just keep going. If you see the enemy, that's who took your wrath to him.
Do you believe that most men had to be trained to kill, or do you think that was just something innate that they could do? Or
No,
do
you have to be trained. You have to be trained.
Was
I
that, is
don't-
that a struggle within you, or did you know that's what you had to do and you had to get ready to do that?
You had to get ready to do that, and you had to do your duty, that's all. Yeah. There was, I forget what town we were in, but I'm running along this building, and after you go around the corner, there's like a cemetery across the road and then a cemetery. And I was going to run over there around the building, and as I'm running, I tripped on a tripwire. My helmet went that way, my rifle went this way, and I moved, and all the air came out of me. I hit the ground so hard. And then the sergeant comes along behind me, walks around the corner. He got shot by a sniper. I didn't get hurt. We find out later that it was a booby trap. Why didn't that booby trap go off when I tripped the wire, tripping over it? That's how lucky. My parents were praying for me. Everybody was praying for me, so I believe that's what happened. That's twice I almost got it. With the machine gun bullets, and we're going around a corner, I got tripped over a trip wire that the hand grenades did not go off, and another person got killed. Another time, we was in a church that was half bombed out. We're in a church, and I saw a door. I wanted to open the door. No matter how hard I tried, I could not open that door. I tried all kind of ways to open that door, see what's on the other side, because I figured there might be enemy out there. A friend of mine from Cleveland, where I live, Sergeant Walters, he come along, he says, "What's the matter?" I said, "I can't get out there to see what the door is." He went over there, he opened the door just like this, walked out, got shot by a sniper right through the heart. That individual died right in front of an altar in the church. That's the third time I got saved. What was it that didn't let me open that door? The good Lord above. There's a lot of little incidents, that happened like that. My boys, my family, they don't know about a lot of them because I don't talk about it too much. If they ask me, I answer them, but we don't talk too much about it.
Is there a reason for that? Is there a reason you don't talk about it very much?
No, I just don't care to. It brings back memories that you don't want to remember, Like now, I'm doing it now because he's asked me to do a little about the 12th Armored Division. I agreed to do it, so that's why I'm bringing it out now. But at home, I wouldn't talk about it. Anything else?
Yes. You're not through yet. Okay, you got hurt. Were you injured? Were you wounded ever?
Never.
Never?
Went through the whole thing, that not even one, didn't even get a Purple Heart, put it that way. No, but I come close several times.
So, tell me about, I've heard him talk about how the officers did not wear any
No, they didn't wear any insignia,
identification?
no. They didn't wear no insignia.
Tell me about that.
Well, they didn't want the enemy to know that they were commanding officers, which I don't blame them. I wouldn't have an insignia shown either, But you usually knew who the officer was by, by the commands that they give, this and that. You know them personally, but the enemy, they don't want them to know who the officer is.
Now, did you call him Sergeant so-and-so or Lieutenant so-and-so, or?
Well, depending on the situation where you were. If you weren't exactly in the firing area, well, then you could call him sir, lieutenant or captain, whatever, or sergeant. But during combat, you didn't think of that stuff. You called him by the name, buddy or friend.
During battle, was there a feeling of privates, the separation of private, besides the orders? But when you were in battle, did you feel that difference, or did they battle right next to you, your officers?
No, they were right with us. Oh, yeah, sure. They didn't hang back and you go in, I'll follow you. Sometimes they're leading you. That's what they're an officer for.
So did you ever become an officer? You were there quite a while.
No. I wouldn't want to be an officer. Not unless I had to be, but no.
Why is that?
No, I didn't want to be the one to be responsible for men. So I just bide my time, be happy, stay my private, let the others have the worries. Because the officer is the one that had to account for doing of the squad. You know.
What were the relationships that you had with the other men?
With who?
With the other men in your unit, in your squad?
Well, it's buddy system. You know. Sure. Well, even today we go visit in Florida from Cleveland, you know. Or when they come here now at their reunion, we meet all the fellows that we know. Write letters once in a while to friends.
What about replacements? How did they fit into the system when replacements came?
Well, they fit in right away. Didn't have much problem accepting replacements. In fact, when you got a replacement, you were glad that they were there. You never refused a replacement. They fit in right away.
I've had some men that say they kind of put a wall up because they had lost too many friends, and after a while you just don't want to deal with it.
No, I didn't have that feeling. Some of the guys did, but not me.
How did you deal with seeing your friends?
Seeing my friends, or?
How did you deal within yourself, within your mind and heart, watching friends and the guys fall around you?
Well, there becomes that kind of friend where you want to be friends for life, you know. That you'd do anything for them, and you know that they would do anything for you.
Tell me about getting orders that y'all were going to go to the Ryan and becoming a part of Patton's army.
Oh, that's where they couldn't keep up the fuel with us to keep our tanks full with gas and our half tanks with gas in order to keep going. We had to stop to wait for them to bring us enough gas so we could keep going. That's how fast we were going. They couldn't keep up the gas. That was a good experience.
Did you ever see Patton?
No, I never did. Some of the guys did, but I never saw Patton. In the distance, but that's about it.
Did y'all meet much resistance when you became the spearhead for Patton?
Did I ever become what?
Was there much resistance when y'all became the spearhead for Patton?
No, there was very little resistance. When they saw us coming, they put up their hands and started walking back the line. They know they give up. But there were pockets of resistance. Don't think they were just having a party going along as fast as you can, because there are pockets of resistance all over the place. So, but we tried to go as fast as we can to get as much distance between us and their lines as we could, you know.
So was there a lot of pride when y'all did get to the Ryan so quickly?
Well, sure. What I remember is when we were going by the Remagen Bridge, if you know where that is. We were there, we got orders to stop and pull over to the side. Then they bring this other armored division to go across the bridge while we were there waiting. And while we were there on the side of the Remagen Bridge, they decided to give us a warm meal. mess kit for, because I haven't had a warm meal in quite a while. And well, everybody's sitting there with their mess kit having hot coffee and eating and so on. All of a sudden an airplane comes by, got a 500-pound bomb. I dove to a hole that's almost as big as this room. It's about 6 foot deep. I dove in there and stayed off my hands, keep my body off the ground because of the concussion would happen if it exploded. Waiting there, and all of a sudden, the bomb hits. It was a dud. But all kinds of dirt and mud went all over the area. Mud in the coffee, mud in their food. We were that fortunate that the 500-pound bomb did not explode. That's another incident.
Are there any more of those incidents?
Pardon me?
Are there some more of those incidents?
Are there more of them?
Yes.
Well, it's hard to remember now. Don't forget it's been a long time. See, that's the problem. If you talk long like I'm doing now, and your thoughts come to your mind, and it remind you of that.
When you think about the war, you know, sometimes you have little pictures that you see something that kind of burns a memory into your head.
No, I don't see any pictures.
You don't have to see any pictures. Are there any memories of things that kind of come to you when you think back? People or things or acts?
I don't think of it too much. Not anymore. After so many years, you don't think about that much anymore. You got other things to worry about, your family, your home. You don't think about that stuff. At least I don't. You got other responsibilities. The only time I think about it is when I'm with the 12th, I see the individuals that were with me. That makes me happy to be here with them.
When you, tell me about going up to Colmar, the Colmar Pocket.
Yeah. Well, Colmar Pocket is where we were in some kind of a barracks, Bennings, some kind of barracks we stayed in. They've got us stay in there overnight, keep warm. Then we went out in the half track and went. Where we went to, I don't remember anymore. All I know, it was a Colmar Pocket they referred to. We went to another town, and I'm supposed to be on guard duty. But I'm on guard duty in a house where all the other individuals are sleeping, and I'm supposed to stay awake and feed the wood into the stove, wood stove to keep the room warm for the individuals sleeping. So I stick a couple of sticks of wood in the stove to keep it warm. First thing you know, I fall asleep. Oh boy, there the house caught a fire. Yeah, it lit up the whole area. And I fell asleep with supposed to guard the individuals. Did the sergeant raise hell with me?
Did they discipline you or anything, or was it just your buddies?
No. Pardon me?
No, did you get in trouble for that, or
No,
was it just the guys gave you the?
No, they just laughed about it. But I could have been in real trouble, you know. But it was guarding the stove, not the individual outside. So.
Tell me about what it was like, weather-wise, and how you survived. I heard that it was cold.
Oh, the weather was
that.
terrible. You dig a hole, just sit in it. First thing you know, the hole would be full of water. You'd sit in water. That's why a lot of individuals lost their feet. Froze. Gangrene set in. No, it wasn't fun. Be pitch black. You're sitting in the hole and the artillery coming in on you and you're sitting there praying, you know. Sometimes you 2 or 3 in a hole. You just have your regular conversation. Hope it don't come here and this and that. Afraid to stick your head up to see what's happening.
What did you learn about yourself?
What did I learn about myself?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I used to be real bashful. I was used to be afraid to say anything to anybody. But being in the Army and being amongst people, I'm not far from bashful. I tell things like they are. I don't let nothing bother me no more when it comes to dealing with the public.
Is there anything else that has made your life different because you went to that war?
No. I feel I'm the same way that I was before, except for I know how to deal with the public, you know. First, what I had experiences that my parents having that store, you know, that got me started. But then, after being in the service, that got me to be more outgoing. Don't be so bashful anymore, you know.
When you were going down, y'all were going south towards Innsbruck. Y'all were headed down that 59 miles. What was that experience like? Y'all had been wet, you'd been cold, you'd been trudging, and then you get on these your half tracks, and here you go quickly across Germany.
Well, you just hope that you're one of the survivors, and you just keep going, do what you're supposed to do as fast as you can. That's all. You don't worry about things that here or there. You're looking out for your buddy and yourself. Mm-hmm. All those are your friends around you. You worry about them, and then you worry about yourself.
Were you involved in any of the liberation of any of the camps, liberation of the death camps, or?
No, that's one thing I was thankful for. That's one thing I'm thankful for that I didn't encounter. I never went inside of one of the camps. I saw them from the outside, but I never went inside or anything. I have very little knowledge about that.
Do you think as you talk to other veterans, do you believe they knew or did they not know what they were seeing when they came upon those death camps? Did y'all heard about these things?
I think the people who were going to their camps really didn't know till they actually arrived there what's going to happen. They thought they were going there to be in the community and live there. They had no idea when they went there. Very few did anyway, about what's going to happen once they arrive.
When you were headed down south, what are your memories of Innsbruck and getting down there and heading towards the end of the war?
I don't have too much memories about that. All I was wondering about was when is this thing going to be over with so we can go home. That was our main thought.
When did the rumors start that you thought?
When did the what?
When did the rumors start?
Rumors?
That it might be coming to an end?
I have no idea when the rumors started. It just with the reports that you get back from the United States that you read in the Stars and Stripes or what people, individuals talk about. That's all you had to go on.
What was it like the day you found out that it was over?
Well, we was in not a barracks, but a house, I believe. And we were all our soldiers were laying around in the room on the floor. And one of the sergeants comes in and says, "That's it, it's over with." And we were glad. Now he said, "Now I bet you we got to go to South Pacific. I hope that's over with. I hope we don't go right away. We could probably stay here for a while before we have to go down to fight Japan." But we were ecstatic that it was over there. Yeah. We couldn't wait for it today when everything be over with.
Did you think you personally were going to go to the South Pacific?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. It was fighting here, you know, they're going to send you over there. to help out over there, you know you ain't gonna stay home. Yeah.
So where were you when you found out that the Japanese had surrendered? Or that the bomb had occurred?
December 7th, 1941, is that what you're asking me?
No, when you found out that you would not have to go to the Pacific and that Japan had surrendered.
Oh, I don't remember where we were. That's been a long time ago, but when we found out that the war, complete war was over with, we were tickled pink. Glad that we didn't have to fight anymore. We could go home and see our families. And then we start thinking about how many points we had. Whether we had enough points to get home first, or second, or last. Yeah, I didn't have no Purple Heart to get me home sooner with points. So I had to wait my turn.
So how long was it before you got to go home? How many points did you have?
I forget now.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the low point man with points. Just all I got was the service time, that's all.
Where did you go after?
They transferred me to a tank outfit. From 12th Armored, I went to a tank outfit, 771st Tank Battalion. Mm-hmm. And I was shipped home on a Liberty ship with that 771st Tank Battalion. And on the way home in that small Liberty ship, it was like a rowboat, we had a hurricane. Well, that was some ride in a hurricane in the ocean, I'll tell you, and on a small Liberty ship. A lot of guys got sick, you know, from being seasick. I got a little sick, too. We used to, in a hammock, we used to sleep in a hammock, rock back and forth, garbage cans flying all over the place, food flying around. That was some time. Were we glad when it was over with?
Were you as afraid on that boat as you were in the battlefield?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I didn't want to die in the water. A lot of difference between the water and on the ground. Yeah. Thank the Lord he got us through it.
Yeah. As you look back over your war experiences, you said that it changed your personality and that you weren't so shy anymore. But is there anything else that has kind of guided your life, or reactions, or maybe just even the appreciation of feeling that God had taken care of you? What has any of those things made a difference in how you are today?
Well, I attributed most of that to my mother. She favored me a lot. You know, she did a lot of praying for me. Her and the rest of my family. And to this day, I believe that it was her prayers and those that got me through without a scratch. I believe without them prayers, I wouldn't be here today. So you could see it out close. I came several times. That's what I attribute it to, my mother and family, and the prayers.
What makes a man go out and fight?
What makes a man go out and fight? What makes a man go out and fight is, believe it or not, propaganda by the government. You didn't hear that before, did you? That's when you see the TV and the commercials and stories and movies about what other countries are doing here. They portray it so that you get mad, so that you want to become something that will stop that. To me, that is propaganda. Whether you believe it or not, it don't matter. When they start fighting, I didn't want to go to the war until they came here in this country and start fighting here. But to me, when you go over there to fight, what started it, get you mad enough, is all propaganda. They still do it today with propaganda.
If this tape were played in 30 years, if there's people still walking around on this earth, Lord hadn't come back, you know, people just kind of going on and doing. Probably you and I both will be dead. What would be a message that you would want to leave with your great-grandchildren?
The message I'd want to leave with my grandchildren is to lead a clean life, believe in the Lord, believe in your parents, and do the best you can. Get an education, find a good job, and don't do anything that is against the law. Live up to the morals of the country and your family.
I have one more, I haven't noticed something. I want to know, what did you do after you got back from the war? What did you do after you returned to the U.S.?
When I got back, my parents still had the store, a delicatessen store. So when I came back, I helped them out in the store. But then, I was for about a year after the war. Then I got a job with a railway company.
The what company?
Transit Authority.
Transit, oh, okay.
It was known as the Cleveland Railway Company. I drove streetcars. I used to stand on a corner, watch streetcars go by, and count how many people on the bus, what time he was there, what number, what identification it had, the numbers, and put it all on a pad, and send it into the report to the office. I did that for 3 years. Then I transferred over to drive the streetcar myself. That was in 1950. And I worked 35 years driving streetcars and buses. 35 years, and then I went on pension in 1981. Oh, the most important date of my life is July 24th, 1948. That's when I got married. My wife, Catherine. That's the day.
Where did you meet Catherine?
Pardon me?
Where did you meet Catherine?
Her father, oh, she used to come to the store. She's younger than I am, and she used to go past my store in the window, and I'd stick my tongue out at her, you know. She used to hate me for doing that. But then when she'd come into the store, I'd give her an extra scoop of ice cream on the ice cream cone, you know, give her a bigger one than was required. Yeah.
So you
And
won
her
her
father
heart through our ice cream, huh?
Yeah. Then her father drove streetcar also on the buses, but he was on the west side, I was on the east side. See? The store was on the west side at that time. So then she lived a block down from where I did. And I got to know her through her parents, her father and her mother. And that's how I got to know.
And you have at least one son, I know, but tell me, do you have other children?
We had, the first 4 children were miscarried. And then after that, I had my son Dennis, and I had 5 boys altogether. No girls. A girl was born, the last one was a girl, but it was passed away at birth. It's one of those things. Didn't make it.
Tell me your sons' names in order of birth.
Dennis, Kenneth, Leonard, Reynold, and Timothy. I got 6 grandchildren, 3 with Dennis and 3 with my other son Leonard. The others are still home with me. They're in their 40s. Why don't they get married and leave home already? But Mommy and Daddy have a nice home. Why should they spend the money when Daddy and Mommy pay for everything? Why don't they get married? No. They'd rather be at home where the cook is made, you know. You don't make one meal and everybody share. That's why they don't want to leave home. What do you want? want today? Well, we'll make this. What do you want? We'll make this.
So
You
as
see that attribute of my wife, how nice she is? That's what made me fall in love with her, how nice she is. See?
Oh, man. Well, have I not covered something that's very important that I didn't know I needed to ask you about?
Do I have what now?
Have I left something out that you need to tell me that I have failed to ask you?
Nothing comes to the mind at the moment.
Okay. Is there any battles or any things that are in your memory that I have not kind of brought up?
No. Just that my son, he likes to go through cemeteries when he sees his friends, and he run across that fellow's grave who got shot by that, killed the sniper in front of the church, and he died by the altar. He was buried in a veterans section in the cemetery where my son goes to visit in Cleveland. So that's where he's buried. Just Walters is his name. We found his grave. And he died a month before the end of the war. That's how close. A month before the end of the war, he got shot.
Well, I appreciate our time together. And if you think of anything else, you could write it down and write it to me, send it to me.
If you could get a hold, I'll give you the name and address of Mr. Kenneth Warner. He lives in Florida. That guy's got a good memory of different incidents. If you'd like to contact him by phone or letter, fill out a form, I have him write it out for you. Because he's sick now, he can't get along too much. But I could give you later on his name and address. And if you contact him, I'm sure he'll be able to help you out with more information.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much.